Good morning, everybody. Good to have you with me. Bright, sunny day. Monday now, November 25th, 2024. Hope you had a good weekend. I'm excited about today's morning discussion. A few things to talk about. Big travel week, of course, Thanksgiving coming up Thursday. What's the deal with it being so late this year? Like, who decides this stuff? Seriously, like, is there a committee somewhere? Is it the government? The government, whatever that is. Some people think of the government as like some separate, solid thing made up of other beings or I don't know, whatever. It's just late this year and it's got a lot of people confused. It's just wacky. I mean, we're going to have Thanksgiving and then boom, it's going to be December. Just very odd. Um, it's also evident as I talk with my hands that I need a gyroscopically stabilized computer monitor holder for the office here. Maybe I can figure something out like that. The family can hook me up for Christmas. I was just noticing that the way my monitor is anyway, because I talk with my hands a lot or I lean on the desk. By the way, today we might be joined by a couple of cats. I left the office door open today. We have two cats that live in the house. We got Willow and Penelope, and Penelope is very frisky this morning, playing with some toy down the hall there. So we'll see. Maybe flying cats will go behind me. You never know. You might hear the racket over there. Just a little bit of banter and chin wagging here before I officially get started with today's morning discussion as we welcome folks into the lecture hall this morning. Right now, 23, not bad. Again, think about a classroom, 23 people coming in. It's good to see everybody. Appreciate it. Let's see who we got. Will Woodgate over in the UK and Cheese Grits. I don't know. I never did like grits myself. I tried them. It's a southern thing, isn't it? Kathy with us and Brad. Message retracted. What did he say? Maybe he can text me. I saw Brad recently out on the Outer Banks, and he retracted his message. I wonder what he said. That's funny. Anyway, we have Karen on here, and there's other folks lurking. 27 now. That's good to see everybody. So, what are we going to talk about today, or what am I going to tell you? So, there's a few cool things at the end of today's update or discussion that I'm very, very excited about regarding Patreon and some things that they have brought to real life. I am part of the Patreon Creator Ambassador Program, which is a very unique thing to be part of. And we get to do these meetings once a month on Zoom with people from Patreon and different creators. And boy, I tell you, the people that have talent and creativity out there. I'm a weather and content creator doing that research. You know what I do. And there are just so many different people on the ambassador program that do stuff where they earn an income because of what they do from podcasts, lots of musicians. There's one guy on there that has like snakes. And it's like, wow, my friend Matt, our colleague Matt out in Colorado, he'd be out in a half second. He is not a snake guy. Anyway, it's a really neat program, and we get introduced to new and upcoming changes and programs and benefits and whatever that Patreon is going to unveil. And we get to test them internally, alpha and beta testing stuff. It's really, really neat. And a couple of the things that they have finally enabled, I will be able to tell you about because we all have sort of an understood non-disclosure agreement that we don't talk about these things until they are official from Patreon. And that makes sense, right? So, very excited to tell you all about that. So, let's share the old screen here. Speaking of Zoom, see what we got back on the YouTube page, real quick. Just seeing who all is here. We're still 27 folks. And hey, there's Charles. Good to see you, Charles. Charles, I've been working on the Zeta episode, stuck on it for almost a year. I don't know what happened, man. It's like, I turned into James Cameron or something where there's no sequel from Avatar. until the next one for whatever it was, many, many years. Not going to go that long. And no, I'm not saying I'm James Cameron, but man, sometimes you just run into a creative wall, and I just couldn't get over that hump. And finally working on it again. I scrapped everything I was doing. Charles is important because he is in the episode. That's why I'm talking to him. Remember Zeta 4 years ago? And I've been stuck on that episode of the Hurricane Highway. And I think I finally got over that hump, and I just scrapped it and started all over with the episode, new music, everything. And it's coming along much better. And Charles, you'll like it because you're in the very beginning cold open. You'll see. Anyway, rattlesnakes. That's right, CJ. So, all right, 30 folks. All right, so the classroom's filling up. That's terrific. First of all, you know what? I got to stop sharing again because I got to get the telestrator up. Doggone it. Got to remember this sucker. We'll use yellow today. We'll run the colors across the bottom of the screen for you at home. Remember that from Bob Ross? I remember that. I leave that channel on downstairs in the living room all the time because it's just so soothing. It's on Samsung TV. Listen to the cat out there. The Bob Ross channel. It's just, there's so much noise in the world and just blah, right? That listening to Bob Ross painting, even in the background when I'm doing other stuff, it's zen. That's just me. Anyway, my kids, though, they're like, Dad's lost his mind. I'm like, wait till you're 54 and whatever. All right. So let's see what we got out there. Thanksgiving week's coming up. Before we get to that, look at this. We were talking about it over on our special little Twitter chat that we've got amongst a bunch of scientists and weather watchers and hurricane experts. It's this little secret society we've got over there. And we were looking at this. We feel like this deserves an official yellow something or another down there from the Hurricane Center. Hey, there's the cat. She's getting closer. She is going nuts with like a spring or something. I'll tell you what, man. Cats and children, you spend thousands on toys and then they find a little trinket and that's what they want to play with. Um, Maybe it wasn't a good idea to leave the office open because I'm going to be easily distracted. She's getting closer. She's going to run across my legs and shred me. So we do have an area of convection down in the Caribbean. Some of the models are trying to develop it. Maybe the Hurricane Center will outlook this later. You know, you got to have consistency and more than just one operational run and so forth. Totally understand. And my goodness, it's almost December. But one last hurrah potentially. And of course, there are impacts already raining clearly in Haiti and it's encroaching on Jamaica. Then we've got the Cayman Islands over here. So we'll have to watch this. The zero Z run last night was really interesting. This is the zero Z right there. See? Want to make sure I got it right. This is the 850 millibar, and yep, in about 5 days it closes it off, consolidates, and goes into Nicaragua as a tropical cyclone, and that's December 3rd. So we'll see about that. You know, even at 72 hours, it's better organized. But I got burned by the models for what became Sarah. Remember that? I do. So I don't know. I mean, maybe, who knows? Maybe that was just a one-off that they all just blew it and were too aggressive. But, you know, you move over to the 6Z from today, and it doesn't do that. Let's just do the same time frame, right? Out to the next 5 days. Does consolidate it into a large gyre down here, and then that eventually moves its way into Central America as a big rainmaker. Yeah, maybe it does. Maybe it does get to be a named storm at some point. The ensembles are pretty excited about it, especially the GFS, but it could be some bias. Hard to know. But you know what? Just going back and looking at the satellite loop, there is something down there. So waters are still warm, and you just need a little area where the upper level winds are supportive, and you can get something. So we shall certainly watch that. All right, let's close a couple of these tabs out. Now, lower 48 weather. Uh, Go back over to the YouTube here. Raise your hand if you're traveling more than 50 miles for Thanksgiving this week. Um, I'm not raising my hand because I'm not. We're not traveling more than 50 miles. And I'm talking one way, 50 miles plus to get to where you're going, and then you got to get back, right? So it'd be 100 miles. Um, it's going to be interesting, especially towards Thursday, Friday, and especially for the East. So as you guys catch up to the stream here, I know there's a little lag from when I say something until you hear it and then you respond back. But a lot of people, I don't have my AAA stats. You know how they say that? You listen to the radio or news reports, you see it on whatever your news feed is. AAA estimates that 4 billion people are going to travel this week. Whatever. It's not that many, but you get the idea. A lot of people hitting the road, hitting the airways. And boy, I heard on my local radio today, Charlotte having a strike up there at the airport. I can't remember who's striking, but that's not going to be good. It's like the groundwork people, whatever, the ground crew cleans the planes and whatnot. Yee, that could be problematic. You talk about wanting to get management's attention, go on strike right before Thanksgiving. It's probably a pretty, I shouldn't laugh because I got to fly through there in a couple of weeks with my wife. We're going to take a cruise, and she needs it more than me, believe me. My job is vacation, basically, not hers. And we're going to go down to the Cayman Islands and whatnot. We got to fly home through Charlotte. So please resolve everything before that. Please. Anyway, if you're traveling today, these are the only trouble areas. That's a terrible, let's try that. There we go. A happy accident right there, right? That's what Bob would say. This is the only area of real concern up here in the northern tier states, and then down parts of the Wasatch Range into southwest Utah, the Sierra Nevada, and parts of the Rockies. But that's today. What about the next several days? Well, glad you asked because it does get interesting as we move this out into time. Um, Intermountain West, kind of stormy, wet, snowy, where it should be snowing, whatever. That's Thursday right there, Thursday morning. Anybody get up real early in the morning and start putting the turkey and everything in the oven? If you're in the east, you got this storm system coming, cold air coming behind it. So Thursday will be kind of dreary for a lot of people here east of the Mississippi, south of the Great Lakes states. And what are you doing, Cat? Seriously. Um, and then as you get to Friday, I'm thinking about travel here. This is Friday morning at 8 a.m., 7 a.m. Eastern time, whatever. Yuck, all through here. Now, it's not a particularly fierce storm, but if you do your air travel and you're driving down I-95, whatever, that's pretty much the entirety of the I-95 corridor. That's a big chunk of it that's going to be wet and even snowy in some places. And all the major hubs from Atlanta, Charlotte, DC, Baltimore, New York, even out to Logan, that doesn't look fun at all. So I'm telling you, with everything happening, whatever, geopolitics, local strikes at an airport, whatever, if you're flying Friday, you better be ready for this. This could be really nasty. It does clear out, at least weather-wise, once we get into Saturday. So if you're going to stay through Saturday, that's looking good. But look up here in the Northeast, if you are a lake effect snow lover, it's almost that time. Pretty good set of plumes possible coming off some of the lakes. There's the Tug Hill region. You got Buffalo tucked in right in here, so almost into Buffalo. And those lake plumes stay active for a while. So again, bottom line, this week for travel, gonna be sketchy towards the end of the week in the east. But I'm telling you, you're out west of the Mississippi over here, bingo, you hit the weather jackpot for this coming week because it is going to be nice. But cold air is going to be coming in. Not a fan of the cold air if it's not going to snow and be stormy. That's just me. But yeah, we're going to get some temperatures below freezing, it looks like, even all the way down in my neck of the woods. This is Monday morning, December 2nd, so we're fully a week out. Let's back it up a little bit. Hey, look, today, though, today we're going to be in the 70s. Yeah. And then that goes away quickly, right? Pretty good cold air mass coming down. And these are just, raw numbers here from the GFS. They get fine-tuned from the Weather Service, and so that's why you'll see lower temperatures and whatever. But it just gives you a rough idea of where the cold and the warm is. That cat, I'm telling you, hear it? You hear that noise? That's the cat. She is having so much fun. But yeah, it's going to be chilly, but nothing like ridiculous. All this purple up here, that's staying up in Canada, and you can have it for now. Maybe get cold and like brutal cold in January, and we'll just run this out for the next couple of weeks. It does start to try to warm up again a little bit anyway, but not a real bad stormy time coming up. Just to run through it one more time, that's not terrible, but that's enough right there Friday to give you some delays. So if you're traveling, especially if you're flying and you're flying with kids or anything, or, whatever, pets, good luck. That's going to be rough in the east. That's not ideal. All right, so there's weather stuff. Now let me tell you about some really cool things coming up. I'm gonna stop the screen share just for a minute so I can go full screen and talk to you. So I started doing this 360 stuff about 4 years ago. I talked about this last week, and I'm going to revisit it today. Very exciting possibilities with it that I just never thought of. We did the 360 stuff back in 2020. We even did it live, and I thought it was a novelty. Like if you had a VR headset, this will really appeal to you. Beyond that, I didn't see much utility for it other than just sort of a cool factor. And then just by pure accident, during the hail work that I did this year, this is the short story, set one of the cameras out there, these GoPro Max cams, and caught a whole bunch of hail video and storms and whatever in 360, uploaded it onto my YouTube unlisted so I could watch it on my VR. It was really neat. Some of the big hail up in Wyoming and Nebraska. I shared that with my friend Dr. Giamanco from IBHS, but I did it using the GoPro player because I couldn't drive to where he is and have him put on the VR, and I don't even know if he has a VR to share with him or whatever. So I showed him in the GoPro player on the screen right here, the 16 by 9 format, and it changed everything because like you could show immersive video in a flat world, if that makes sense. And that's exactly what I did. So from that, um, I thought this could be amazing. So we worked very quickly to develop some stuff for hurricanes and other applications. And then I wanted to show Fox weather. So I went up there, whatever, almost 2 weeks ago now, and pitched it to them. They embraced it, and I debuted it with Ian Oliver that, what was that, Thursday, a week ago now almost. And from the Outer Banks. And that's where Brad was. He was helping me with that. So now, here's what I want to show you. All that comes to this. Now I figured out this is so freaking cool how to do time lapse in 360. So this is what you would normally see in a time lapse video, right? Hey, that's pretty cool. Look at them clouds rolling by. But what if you could do that? Ha ha! Oh, come on, folks. How awesome is that going to be? Look at my dogs. How awesome is that going to be when you get like shelf clouds and rotating supercell that of course it's rotating, that's why it's a supercell, that comes by like this way and we can just track it. I mean, this is going to be next level. I'm going to just say it, badass. All right. I mean, I did this test out in my driveway and I am, my goodness, it's only 50 seconds long. Let's rewind it. Look at that. That's just amazing. And you can look up and see the clouds go by. You can zoom in. There's so much that could be done with this. I am very, very excited. Wow. Just the limitless possibilities of what we can do with this. And Fox Weather will be able to take advantage. They can literally do this on the air, what I'm showing you right now. And of course, they did do that when we debuted it back. Hey, there's my garage and all my equipment when we debuted it back a week ago during Ian Oliver's afternoon show. By the way, they're installing fiber in my neighborhood from some other company, and I've already got fiber. I got AT&T. It's like, don't be putting that in my yard. Don't mess up my stuff. Yep. So that was really neat. That was a cool test. And a reminder, we've got a bunch of stuff already on our YouTube in 360 that, again, I've done this going back 4 years. And to that end, all of our insider folks, I'm going to make a new tab on here. Alert, alert. Going to have a new tab somewhere on here. I'm going to squeeze these tabs in and whatever for our 360 gallery so that you can just go on there and find it really easily. And again, you don't have to have a VR headset clearly. As I just showed you, like here's the Rodanthe Pier from last week. You can just play these right in YouTube. You go full screen and you can do just like Ian Oliver did there and move the shot around and whatever. Really, really cool stuff with this 360. And if you do have a VR headset, you simply would search for, and some of the stuff when it's public, you would just search for some of these titles and you can find them. As an example there, we'll go back to the list. You would just look for, you know, Helene 360, LKH1, whatever. Like I said, some of these are unlisted. That's fine. You can look them up. This is a cool one. This is from 4 years ago. I just didn't know what I had. This is a lower quality for some reason. It's not bad, but it's gotten better in 4 years. This is up in the Rocky Mountains in September. I went up there for a very early season snow. It was like 99 degrees the day before with wildfires, and then they had this freak cold front come down. And I tried the 360 cam out, and I just thought, oh, it'd be neat. And it turns out it's actually more than neat. It actually has some utility. So let me show you. Now, all of that was really cool. Let me show you back. I was going through one of these micro SD cards, uh, just trying to see what all the stuff we've done this year. And I totally forgot about all the different times that I ran the 360 cam during my hail work this year. So I want to show you that. One of these examples here, actually two of them. This is absolutely incredible. Just further demonstrating how amazing this is going to be. Now, this is right out of the GoPro player. So this is the best resolution possible that we get out of the GoPro player. And this is May 21st. Greg Nordstrom's with me on this expedition. This is the big hail guard that sits on top of the Tacoma. And of course, this is the severe thunderstorm that's coming. There's your shelf cloud. There's some hail in there. Um, Mostly a loft. I remember when this was all said and done, we didn't get much hail. But don't worry about that. Let's turn this volume down because you don't really need to hear it. What I want to show you, though, is how cool this is. So here comes the shelf cloud, and you can look up and see the storm. I mean, all the structure of it, just absolutely incredible what we can do with this. So let's scrub through the timeline a minute or so. There you go. And oh, by the way, what is that black thing? Those were those quick dam flood bags. I wanted them up there. They were activated, so they become like bean bags when they're activated, the same stuff that's in diapers. Remember, that's what was in Twisters, the exact same premise. And I wanted these up there to soften the impacts from the hailstones, especially really big ones, so we could collect them as close to virgin quality as we could get. And we don't do these anymore because we now have a different way of collecting the hail that's more efficient, and we don't have to drive around with these big heavy bags on top of the vehicle. But that's what these bags are. But here comes the shelf cloud, and this is real time, of course. This storm's rolling in. Look at that glowing, and that's exactly what it looks like. It glows out there. So you ever been in a big hailstorm, you know it's coming. And you can zoom in and zoom out, and just awe-inspiring stuff here. Look at that. Look right up the supercell. This is going to just be incredible. It really is. What we're going to be able to do with this, you can zoom in and see the rain shaft and the hail shaft. And this is not manipulated. I didn't beef up the colors or anything. This is just raw video from the GoPro, the 360 cam. Really cool stuff. The storm finally comes right over us, and it is rock and roll time. And you can really back it out and get a sense of what it looks like, almost fisheye, right? So amazing. Really going to be cool when Fox shows this type of stuff on air this coming severe weather season. Lake effect snow. I mean, look at that. You can literally look right up the supercell. Oh, just amazing. I can't. I mean, what a world. Such cool stuff out there. Let's kill that tab. I get back over to this other tab. I know I've got one up in here. Where'd it go? There it is. So this is the one that I want to show you from Wyoming that was also absolutely just jaw-dropping amazing. You got to wait for the GoPro player to launch. It's a very CPU graphics card intensive software package from GoPro. Apparently a little bit more than I thought because it's taking a long time. We'll wait for it to load and I'll add lib for a second. But really, the use of this, there it is. Well, no more ad libbing. It's ready. So this is up in Wyoming from this big hailstorm that we had up there. It was out like just in the middle of nowhere, honestly. And again, you can see the greenage, blue-green color there. And this was kind of early on. See where this ended up. As the storm was coming, you could see it progressing and whatever. But let me show you this next one. This is the better one. Whoops, I killed it. Let's go back here. This is the better one. Maybe it'll open faster this time. But the use of it to be able to, especially the freeze frame and scientific purposes, outside of taking it to air like on Fox Weather, or if we're showing it live on a presentation like this, is the ability to go frame by frame and capture these hailstones in high resolution. And then Dr. Giamenco at IBHS, they can make 3D printouts of them just from these high resolution pictures. There we go. So here's the storms that afternoon. This was back on June the 10th. Kind of a low top supercell, or not even really a supercell, but a low top thunderstorm. And let me scroll through, scrub through the timeline here. Watch as I approach that shelf cloud. This looks like something out of a movie. This was so cool. We'll put it into motion. Absolutely amazing as I drove under that thing. We'll go a little bit further. Look at that. And again, the ability, this is when I'm driving, to look around and see the environment. This is going to be so helpful. Tornado research. And a lot of guys, a lot of chasers and gals, they use 360 cams. I'm not pretending I'm the only one that does it, but I think really understanding what we can do with it beyond just the cool factor is really going to be helpful, as we go forward. And this is for severe weather, obviously. I see applications in hurricanes for sure, especially for education. We're working on that with the Hurricane Center and Clemson University, by the way. Just a little project we got cooking up. But yeah, this is just some cool stuff I wanted to show you. Kind of showing off the tech here from the past season. So let's get back over to what the heck happened here. By the way, let me just check in and see. We got 42 folks in the room. Before we keep moving along, let's just check in with everybody. We've added Diggy and Altiman Winter. I'm just reading the names as they come on here, right? Oh yeah, that's right. Brad said he ordered one, so Brad's gonna have a 360 cam out there, and I left him with this neat little grip thing so he can get some good 360 stuff and send it to me. Oh, not seeing the screen. Uh-oh, wonder what I did wrong. Yikes. I messed up, I guess. So let me go back and share the screen. You know what? It's okay. If I messed up, I messed up. We can do it again. Screen share. There we go. I don't have anywhere to be. If I have to do it again, I'll do it again. All right. Try again. All right. So where did I leave off? Did you guys see which video did you see? Where did I stop screen sharing? Like, how did I screw up? That's embarrassing, but I'll get over it. Let's just do this. Let's go back and we'll just rerun it. All right. Let's get that file open again. That's fine. It's sitting in here and 360 hail. All right. Now you can see it. There we go. And we'll go back over here real quick. Wait to see if anybody responds. Thanks, Jeff. All right. So Oh, I see what happened. So I messed up by the time we got to the Wyoming one. All right. So let me kill this screen and we'll do Wyoming. There we go. All right. So here's Wyoming. And we go back to YouTube. You guys seeing it now? Very good. All right. So here's the Wyoming shot. All right. So this is really neat. This low top thunderstorm. The Black Hills are actually way off in this direction. I'm headed towards South Dakota as I'm driving up whatever that highway is out there. All the storm chasers know it. So this shelf cloud's coming, and this is really, really cool. This is in motion now on top of the vehicle. And I know what I did. I probably hit stop share and I just screwed it up. My bad. But as we drive under it, look at that. That's just absolutely cool. And I mean, seeing it in person was amazing, but this is as close as you can get to that experience. You know, look at that. Just it's so neat. You can look around, zoom in on the shelf cloud, really see the structure and the stabilization that the GoPro does. It's kind of bouncy out there. You can see the rack, the hail guard moving, but the clouds are absolutely perfectly still. You know what I mean? Like there's no shakiness. It's unbelievable what GoPro has done with the stabilization. Just mind blowing as we drive into that thing. It's just me that day, but you know what I mean. And some of that greenage up there, the blue green, and there was some hail starting to fall here. Once we drive right into it, I'll show you. Get a little closer. You can see the hailstones begin to hit the bag as I get into the hail core. Pretty neat. I'm just going to text Jeff real quick because this is real time. Seeing it now? Question mark. So yeah, so the hail should be coming up. It's not very big. I remember this was like quarter size. And it was very cold outside. It was like in the 60s, which is cold in June. But yep, that's so neat. You can look right up and see the cloud, the shape of the supercell. Let's even get a hailstone in here. There's one. There it is, right there. He's hiding in the pillow. There's one right there. Look at that. Little guy. A little bit more than a half inch, and then they melt. How do I know it's a half inch? Because these holes are a half inch. So anyway, yep, there we go. Jeff says we are good to go. So yeah, some really cool applications for this. Severe weather, hurricane, snow, flooding, anything. Even just cool time lapse like I showed you when it was working. All right, so let's stop the screen share. And looks like that worked. We'll jump back over to the YouTube here. All right, there you go. Thanks everybody for waiting it out for me so I could solve my technical problems. What else did I want to show you? So we covered that. Like I said, I am going to add a tab over here on the Insider site for 360 stuff and make more of the stuff on YouTube public. Some of it I kept private because I needed to show it to people first. You know what I mean? It's like, one of those kind of deals. All right, let me get back to screen sharing because I want to tell you something really, really cool that's happening with Patreon that I think could make a real big difference in what we do and what a lot of other creators do. You ready? Here we go. Drum roll. Ta-da! Finally, and you might already know this from other creators, Patreon has made it so that you can give a membership to a patron or a creator, sorry, as a patron. So yes, it is a virtual gift card. Patreon has enabled this. Great for Christmas, birthdays, Father's Day, whatever. You just got a neighbor, a friend, a student. Hey, there's a good idea. And you can gift them as a patron yourself. I mean, you might not even have to be a patron. You can just gift it. Like you go to the store and you buy a gift card to Xbox or, Texas Roadhouse or whatever. Now you can do this for Patreon right here on the website. And I have enabled a couple of them. On my end as the creator, I decide which ones are able to be gifted. And right now I've enabled the $4 and the $10. I want to see how it goes. But yes, you can go in. There is a link. It's right there. You can see it. Patreon.com/hurricane track/gift. I'll save it for you, put it over here on the chat. Bam. So that is the gift card or gift patron gift link. That's really cool. That'll help a lot of creators, I think, um, because people like to gift stuff, and you say somebody's hard to shop for. Well, any weather geeks out there now, Patreon lets you do this for us. Anybody on the weather side or anything else on Patreon. So really, really cool that Patreon has enabled that. And I will be mentioning it more as we go forward because that'll help us grow. And when we grow, we get to do more stuff. We can afford more of these and all the other stuff, and it's just good. Now, the other thing that Patreon has enabled, and I'm very excited about this, as all creators should be, I just got to figure out what to do with it. So we're live right now on a mega tech company called YouTube through another mega tech company called Zoom, right? Patreon has now made it so that we can go live on Patreon exclusively. I have not done it yet. And when we do decide to do it, they actually want to know. I got to get in touch with the back end team at Patreon because they want to see how it works and whatever. I think they call it alpha testing. Pretty sure that's what the lady sent me in the email. So I don't think it's rolled out broadly yet. It still might be testing, but we're going to do it. And what I'm going to probably do is wait for the first winter storm expedition, whenever that might be, either a lake effect event, maybe sometime in the next week, we'll see, or preferably a big nor'easter. And speaking of big nor'easters, can you imagine? I know I said this last week, the 360 video up there at like Scituate and Marshfield. We got some houses up there that people allow us to use. Oh man, that's going to be incredible. Anyway, I think the first Patreon live I will do when we have a winter storm expedition in the next few weeks. It's just a matter of time. Um, I know that I can set it up and I can go live right from the phone, and it goes right into the Patreon app. I've already talked to the back end team here at Hurricane Track about it a little bit. It does allow us to use OBS, so we could actually do some like what you would see on YouTube with all the little sidebars and the lower third and all that kind of stuff. But that takes a team of people to do, as you know, and we got to coordinate things because people are busy. Not everybody gets to do this full time. But I think the very first time I do it, I'll just do it from the phone and just set it up right there in my vehicle. Either I fly to Buffalo, just as an example, rent a car, go do some lake effect stuff for a couple of days, or if I drive up there, it's just a long drive. Ugh. Um, I just think that'd be neat. And then we'll figure out what to do with it from there as we get towards next hurricane season. We will have it all figured out. I think what would be ideal is to make it so that like all the cameras are on a dashboard kind of deal, and we just pipe that to Patreon through OBS. And then when people sign up, they at least see the cameras immediately. And then from there, they could go into the Hurricane Track Insider site and see things individually. I don't know. We got to figure it out. It is a good way to interact with our supporters that create all the funding that we need to do all this stuff. And we've had people with us on Patreon since 2016, 2017 when we started it. And live on Patreon, I think, is really good. And as I've been thinking about it more, we are sitting at about almost 2,000 total supporters on Patreon. I'm trying to get back to I don't know, some of it probably is private, so maybe I don't want to show it. But we are sitting at about 2,000. It's like, let me look at it on my app. It's like 1,930 something patrons total, 1,939. And but a smaller percentage are actual paying supporters, which is fine because I think growing Patreon into more of a social media platform kind of takes what we're doing with Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and combining it into one place. And Patreon is gradually going there. And I really like that because Patreon now has, and I haven't used it a lot, and I need to do it more. Community tab stuff, like where I can interact with people. The only problem is it's not really two-way. Like, you can't post your content back that I know of. I mean, there's some things I still need to learn, but I like the fact that we've grown to where we have 1,939 total members. And with that big pool, when there's an event that appeals to people, they can then jump in and pay some support money and be a part of it. And if they don't want to be a long-term financial supporter, that's fine. I like that flexibility. I really, really do. And then it gives us this big growing community that's just there. Because people are talking about, oh, you should get on Blue Sky, you should do Threads, you should do TikTok. No, I don't have time to do all that. I really don't. And we certainly don't have the budget. Now, if all 1,900 people were at the $10 level, yes, I would hire a social media manager. Absolutely. And I'd have a full-time staff like a big podcast would. Some of these ones that do have, 50 to $100,000 of monthly income coming in. That's the kind of budget you would need. So I just think that it's neat that what Patreon is doing is they're gradually turning into sort of this total social media universe that is built upon the beginnings of it was first fan supported work. So YouTube was always free, ad supported. Now over the years they have gradually gotten towards crowdfunding and fan supported work. They kind of did it the other way. And then there's other sites that have popped up that some of them are adult sites, obviously, that are based on that. I think Patreon, from where they started and now where they're going with all of this is great. This is wonderful that it's going to eventually get to be where we have thousands of folks on our Patreon and we're all just there. And then on the external stuff, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook is, kind of branching out a little bit into the outside world. So anyway, bottom line as I rant here, I'm happy with where it's gone very much, especially this live stuff, but we just have to figure out how to utilize it. Not going to ever stop streaming on YouTube because that is a global, massive audience, obviously, but I just think it's really neat what Patreon has done. So I wanted to tell you about it. Finally, I'm able to. We all had to be tight-lipped about it from the ambassador program, and I've been waiting to tell you about it. All right. So let's see what y'all got for me. Cat hair on me or something. Um, what do we got here? Let's see. Question. You may have covered it already. Will Fox be using cameras during the deployments, the 360 cams? Yes, they will. They did last Thursday when we debuted this from the Outer Banks. It was really, really neat. I wish I could play you the clip, but YouTube will slap me with a copyright strike. Even though I work with Fox Weather, I mean, what can you do, right? But maybe I could drop a link to it somewhere. Anyway, yes, they will be using these 360 cameras. And how it's going to work is that I will upload it and then they will put it into the YouTube player and they will drive it on air, just like I did for you guys when I was showing you those demonstrations there from Wyoming and whatnot. And that's what Ian Oliver did on the show in the 3 o'clock hour last Thursday. It was really, really cool. So yes, they will certainly be using them as needed. All right. So I think that's about it. That's the stuff I'm looking at. That's the stuff I'm working on. Again, just to recap, and at the beginning when I was just doing some banter, waiting for people to come on, we're around 36 people now. I appreciate you sticking around. We do have our series, the Hurricane Highway, and trying to get back to where I can see me full screen. There we go. Uh, and I had I mean, it's been not quite a year. I got to look and see when the last episode published. It was the Delta episode. Anyway, just ran into not writer's block, but the creativity, because I produce those things 100% by myself. And it is a very long process. I do all of the culminating of the video, the editing, the music. I produce all the music myself. Now I'm starting to use AI to help me with that music because, man, I got to get these things done. And it's just an extra tool in the toolbox to enhance my music production. And then I do these sit down interviews. They're called talking heads, like on The Office. Every time you see them, Jim and Michael Scott and everybody else, they do those little things. They're called talking heads. And I do those. And then you got to put everything together and make it look good. And it takes a long time. It just does because I got everything else going on. Hurricanes, winter storms, severe weather, hail, family. You get it? Stuff takes a while. And then enter into the picture just this period where I got about 50, 60% of the way through the Zeta episode, and I just couldn't figure out where to go with it. It was boring. It just didn't, even the music just wasn't working. And I was like, and then this season, this year, 2024, this has been my busiest year ever, all the way back to January. In fact, I was looking at doing another calendar for this year. I better hurry. That's for sure. Good thing about a calendar, by the way, I can put it together on this laptop over here to my right overnight. Like it's 13 pictures, fill in some stuff on the calendar stuff, send the files off to you printing or whoever. They turn it around in 10 days. So I better hurry though, if I'm going to do another calendar. See, it's just so busy. I can't even keep up what I want to tell you. Bottom line, I got real busy this year, and the creative juices just weren't there to produce episodes. But now I'm back. It's like, all right, because I scrapped it. I just threw the whole thing out, started the Zeta episode completely over, brand new beginning, everything, new music, the whole bit. And man, it is just rocking. So that's back on track. I should finish the Zeta episode within the next couple of weeks. And then I got to do Ada, and that gets us through 2020 and season 2 of our Hurricane Highway series. From there, I do need to figure out what I want to do going forward. Do I keep making these documentary style TV programs, or do try to switch it up and make it more of a podcast where we get the people that were on are involved in each of these missions on like a Zoom, and we just talk about it together. And then eventually, as we grow, I would like to have like a studio setting where we sit around. You see these different podcasts that are out there where they're all in the same room and they got the little mics in front of them, and we could roll video when we need to. There's a lot of possibilities. That's what I'm saying. That's the bottom line. So look forward to the Zeta episode within the next couple of weeks finally being completed. And then I got to wrap up Ada. Remember Ada in 2020? I do. That was the one that was sort of the warning shot across the bow of what was going to start happening along the west coast of Florida. And I remember saying that. I was like, man, we had such significant surge in Tampa and elsewhere from Ada, and that was November of 2020. I thought, can you imagine a really powerful hurricane coming up here? And that's exactly what happened over the next 4 years, isn't it? Yes, it is. So everything's connected, right? Right. All right, let me get out of here because I got other stuff to do today. Any more questions from you guys? Sin socks, yeah. Sand socks. That's funny. That's quite all right. And if you saw the clip from Fox last week, you'll know what Lance is talking about there. Listen, let me wrap this up. Let me drop the video out first, and then we'll do the audio after that. And I'll say my goodbyes here for today. I will have an afternoon update, by the way, to catch up on what might or might not be happening with our system down in the Caribbean, and just a real quick look back at the weather coming up this week. So be sure to check that out, and we'll go from there, all right? So we'll have an update today, and then that's it for this week, and I'll see you again next Monday. We'll do this, by the way, every Monday. I'm going to do this, unless I'm out of town or whatever. We'll have a little morning discussion and just chit-chat about stuff. I like it. This is fun, and I hope that it grows and people can tune in, and I get stuff to show you and whatever. So thanks for hanging out with me for today. I am Mark Sudduth, of course, and I'll see you again later this afternoon. Thanks for watching and participating.